Hey class, it's Brett Carter, and I'm going to talk to you about DB and EMET and the best practice and implementation for both. Alright, about databases. A database is a collection of information that is organized so that it can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. In one view, databases can be classified according to types of content: bibliographic, full text, numeric, and images. In computing, databases are sometimes classified according to their organizational approach. The most prevalent approach is the relational database, and this is a tabular database in which data is defined so that it can be reorganized and accessed in a number of different ways. A distributed database is one that can be dispersed or replicated among different points in a network. An object-oriented programming database is one that is congruent with the data defined in object classes and subclasses. Computer databases typically contain aggregations of data records or files, such as sales transactions, product catalogs, and inventories and customer profiles. Typically, a database manager provides users the capabilities of controlling read/write access, specifying report generation, and analyzing usage. Databases and database managers are prevalent in large mainframe systems, but are also present in smaller distributed workstation and mid-range systems such as the AS/400 and on personal computers. Databases use tables, and these tables consist of columns and rows. Each column contains a different type of attribute, and each row corresponds to a single record. Best practices and implementation for databases. 1. Focus on the data, not the application. This is basically saying that it's important to take future data needs into consideration, because there are many shortcuts that can be used to make these databases, but this in turn leads to problems. Leverage the power of your database. Too many programmers treat databases like a data dump or a black box. While there are instances where this is appropriate, this is not the best approach. When you're not using the power of database, you end up making things less efficient and harder to maintain. Utilizing the database makes it relatively easy to reuse, design elements, and add functionality. But if everything is built into the application, you'll have to rebuild validation and a lot of the logic, and you'll never get the same information again. Include DBAs in the design phase. There are so many ways that data gets used. It's hard for someone whose task is to build X to envision that. It's not uncommon for developers to wait until the final stages in development to interact with database administrators. The result may be a lack of attention to details important to DBAs, such as naming conventions, which make it easy to identify objects contained in the database. Given that DBAs may not have much time to spare to work with the developers, it's a good idea for developers to learn to think like a DBA. Use data models. Despite widespread agreement that software engineering is important, many programmers forego data models. Data is the memory of an enterprise. An organization can always rewrite an app or purchase a new app, so there's no excuse for constructing at least a summary data model. Consider different data interaction strategies. Many developers lack imagination in how applications can interact with a database. They may choose to use a database layer, hiding the database with programming objects that make database data indistinguishable from in-memory data. While this is a visible strategy, it has limitations. There are additional data interaction strategies. For example, dedicated methods can encapsulate data access. Some methods can be written as stored procedures. Others can be written in programming code. The remaining programming logic accesses the database via these special methods. And finally, pick database keys that support partitioning. Even if you're not planning on partitioning now, the application will likely need to evolve to support at some point. Selection of key type that easily supports partitioning can mean the difference between a smooth transition and a difficult upgrade. Okay, about EMET. Alright, EMET stands for Enhanced Mitigation Experience Toolkit, and this is a utility that helps prevent vulnerabilities in software from being successfully exploited. EMET achieves this goal by using security mitigation technologies. These technologies function as special protections and obstacles that an exploit author must defeat to exploit software vulnerabilities. These security mitigation technologies do not guarantee that vulnerabilities cannot be exploited. However, they work to make exploitation as difficult as possible to perform. EMET also provides a configurable SSL/TLS certificate pinning feature that is called Certificate Trust. This feature is intended to detect man-in-the-middle attacks that are leveraging the public key infrastructure and stop them. EMET can work together with any software regardless of when it was written or by whom it was written. This includes software that is developed by Microsoft and software that is developed by other vendors. However, you should be aware that some software may not be compatible with EMET. EMET requires the Microsoft.NET Framework 4.0. Additionally, for EMET to work with Internet Explorer 10 or Windows 8 and Windows Server 2121 or more recent version of the compatible update for Windows 8 or Windows Server must be installed. Best practice implementation for EMET. Okay, the most important thing you do is make sure that the recommended settings are installed. So first you need to download EMET and install it. So you select the Use Recommended Settings options, enable recommended settings to protect commonly exploited programs like Internet Explorer, Microsoft Office, Adobe Reader, and Java plugin. Next, you'll need to launch the EMET GUI application from your Start menu or Start screen. Click the Import button at the top left corner of the screen. You'll then need to select the popular software.xml file provided with EMET and import it. This file adds additional rules to help protect popular third-party programs like Firefox, Chrome, Skype, iTunes, Photoshop, Thunderbird, Opera, Google Talk, Pingin, VLC, WinRAR, and 7-Zip. You can view the rules installed on your system by clicking the Apps button under Configuration and the ribbon at the top of the window. Your computer should now be more secure. Following these steps will help harden EMET. And this is the end of my discussion about DB in EMET. So thank you for listening.